The story is about a girl named Edie. She's 14 years old, and she's with her mom and dad riding in the car. But the weird thing is that Edie is the one driving. While they're on the road, a police officer pulls them over, and Edie's dad tells her, "Listen, step on it and get out of here before the cop gets to us." Because her mom is carrying a lot of illegal stuff. Not to mention that Edie is underage and technically not allowed to drive at 14. Anyway, her dad keeps pressuring her until he finally convinces her to ditch the cop and take off. And Edie gives in. Just as she's about to hit the gas, the story suddenly jumps 14 years into the future, where we see Edie all grown up, looking beautiful, and celebrating her birthday with her best friend. But it's obvious that Edie's financial situation is a complete disaster, and her life is nothing but chaos. To be fair, though, her best friend really loves her and stands by her like a sister. That night passes, and the next morning, Edie wakes up late, quickly throws on some clothes, and heads to her car. But unfortunately, it won't start. She gets frustrated and starts cursing at the car in the worst possible way, all while her neighbor and her kids are watching. She quickly turns around and says, "Sorry guys, good morning," then heads off to work. It turns out Edie works at a bank, and as soon as her boss sees her, he starts chewing her out and giving her the full lecture. The ridiculous manager is holding a fish in a plastic bag, completely sealed. No idea how the poor fish is supposed to breathe. Suddenly, out of nowhere, some robbers storm in to carry out a bank heist. The boss instantly drops to the ground in panic. The bag rips, and the fish falls onto the floor. He's frozen in fear, just watching, unable to do anything about it. Meanwhile, Edie tries to step up and do something brave, but before she can even pull off her first move, one of the robbers smashes her on the head with a gun, and she blacks out. Edie wakes up in the hospital, and the doctor checks on her, telling her, "You're perfectly fine. No concussion, nothing serious. A couple cups of tea and you'll be good as new. By the way, when we found out you're pregnant, we made sure to be extra careful with the medication we gave you." Edie's eyes go wide. Wait, hold on a second. What did you just say? Pregnant? Where on earth did you get that from?" The doctor replies, "Well, the tests we ran show you're expecting." Edie blurts out, "Pregnant by who?" The doctor's like, "Excuse me?" And she storms out without another word. Later, she talks to her best friend, who asks her the same question. "So, whose baby is this?" Edie admits, "It's John's." Her friend looks shocked. "Johnny? Out of all people, you chose him to have a baby with? That guy is completely irresponsible. And listen, whatever you do, don't you dare go back to him. Seriously, don't even think about it. Be glad you're away from him. Focus on your future and raise this baby on your own." Edie snaps back. "Raise what? No way. I'm not raising anything. I'm getting rid of it." Her friend sighs and says, "We'll talk about this later." But before leaving, she repeats her warning. Don't go to John. Focus on your life. The very next day, Edie is supposed to take a super important university exam. Yeah, I don't know how she's working at a bank and going to college at the same time. Maybe it's some kind of internship or something. Anyway, instead of sitting for the exam, she decides to go confront Johnny and tell him she's pregnant with his child. When she walks into his apartment, she finds two guys beating him up in his bedroom. Shocked, she backs out, thinking, "What am I even doing here? This is the guy I thought could raise a baby with me?" But of course, Edie ends up coming back again because she's totally blinded by her feelings and still loves him. Out of nowhere, she jumps in, fights off the two attackers, and actually manages to free Johnny. The guys run off, but obviously they don't just let it go. They start chasing Edie and Johnny through buildings and cramped rooms, turning everything into absolute chaos. While Edie and Johnny are leaping from room to room and rooftop to rooftop, Johnny is scrambling to cover himself up, grabbing a pair of shorts here, a jacket there, because when those two guys jumped him, he was left practically naked. By sheer luck, the shorts he snatched had a car key in the pocket. He immediately hands it to Edie and says, "Drive, sweetheart," because Edie happens to be an insanely skilled driver. And we see that skill in full action during the chase. The guys after them have no clue how to handle her behind the wheel. Johnny, meanwhile, is thrilled, completely amazed at Edie's driving. The pursuit turns into a wild, brutal, never-ending car chase, but Edie suddenly slams the car into reverse and smashes into the other vehicle, crippling it, then casually speeds away to freedom. After escaping, she pulls over to the side, gets out of the car, and tells Johnny, "You know what? Coming back to you was a huge mistake. I barely spent a minute with you, and already I'm neck deep in chaos. Damn your bad luck." She's ready to walk away, but Johnny clings to her, desperate that she showed up. He starts unloading his troubles, telling her that if she leaves, he'll never survive the mess he's in, and they'll kill him for sure. He insists he needs her help. And as we already know, Edie is completely weak when it comes to him, totally blind in love. She asks, "Okay, what did you screw up this time?" Johnny admits he was on a job but failed, and the man who hired him is someone named Nico. He explains that ever since he botched that mission, Nico's been after him nonstop. Shockingly, Edie realizes she knows Nico. A little later, Nico himself calls her up and says, "Listen, I know Johnny's with you. Bring him to my place in 1 hour, both of you." Then he hangs up. Edie knows she has no choice but to go, because if there's one thing she understands, it's that Nico can drag her out from under the ground if she tries to run. So, she and Johnny head over to meet him. It was crystal clear that Nico had a lot of respect for Edie, totally unlike Johnny, whom he constantly insulted and treated like trash. Nico could see that Edie was dragging herself into endless trouble because of Johnny, and he knew exactly how to take advantage of that. He told her straight up, no sugarcoating. "Here's the deal. There's a job I want you to do for me. You're going to steal $3 million. If you succeed and bring me the money, I'll let your precious Johnny go. But if you fail, well, then I'll make sure Johnny gets chopped up into pieces." So, what's it going to be, Edie? Of course, she had no choice. As much as it hurt, she was forced to agree, because for the 30th time, she's hopelessly in love with Johnny. After leaving Nico, she starts scolding Johnny right away. "You're always like this. Problems, problems, problems. Every time I turn around, you've dragged yourself into another disaster, and I'm the one who has to bail you out. How many times have I saved you already? You never learn." Johnny tries to calm her down. "Hey, take it easy. Did you forget everything I've done for you?" Edie rolls her eyes. "Oh, here we go again with the same old line. Don't worry, I remember every single thing. Nothing's forgotten. But that doesn't excuse the mess you're always putting me in. And honestly, what exactly did Johnny ever do for her? We'll find that out later, my friends." Anyway, Edie takes Johnny, and they get in the car to meet the people who are supposed to set up this big job. On the way there, Johnny suddenly asks her, "So, what did you do during those 3 months we weren't together? Did you see anyone else? Because I get really jealous, Edie." She snaps back. "You know what? I don't have the patience for this. Look at this. Zip it. Don't say a single word until we get there." When they finally arrive at the spot, they sit down to wait for the crew who will organize the heist. Johnny, of course, can't sit still without causing trouble. True to form, he starts provoking 2 random guys who are minding their own business, playing pool. Big mistake. The 2 guys grab him and beat the living daylights out of him right then and there. While they're beating Johnny up, a man suddenly walks in with a gun and a group of his men. He says, "Perfect, just perfect." Then asks Edie which one of the 3 matters to her. Edie points at Johnny. The man tells the other 2 guys to get lost, and then sits down with Edie and Johnny to explain the job. It turns out there's going to be a high-stakes poker tournament, and the winner of that game will walk away with $3 million. Their plan is simple: steal the money. And of course, they need Edie, because she's the one who's going to drive the getaway car. Johnny and Edie both agree to the job, but then the man pulls Edie aside for a private word. He tells her, "Look, the guy you're with, Johnny, he can't be part of this. He's a walking disaster, reckless, unstable, and guaranteed to ruin the operation if he comes along." Edie insists, "No, it's not possible. Johnny has to be part of this job." The man frowns and asks, "Why are you so attached to him? I've heard he's caused you nothing but trouble. Why stick with him like this?" Edie sighs and says, "Fine, I'll tell you. When I was 16, my father had been in an accident and couldn't support me anymore. Some man ended up taking me in, but he wasn't a good person. One day, he tried to sell me to another guy who wanted to do terrible things to me. He put me in his car, drove me to a public garage, and waited there. The other guy arrived, handed over some cash and a stash of drugs, and then tried to assault me. Just when I thought I was finished, out of nowhere Johnny appeared, dragged both men out of the car, and beat them so badly they couldn't even stand. That man was Johnny. From that day on, I knew him, and since then, I've been loyal to him. My loyalty to Johnny will never end." Hearing this, the man has nothing left to say. He shrugs and finally tells her, "Fine, have it your way, but Johnny is your responsibility." The very next day, they start preparing for the heist. First stop, a guy who works at the casino, specifically the one responsible for bringing cars inside the building for display. They slip him a bribe and tell him, "Wreck this car." The guy doesn't ask questions. He just grabs the remote for the crane and smashes the car into pieces. Now, you might be asking, why destroy the car? Well, here's the trick. Their plan is to swap that wrecked car with one of their own, but modified and equipped with everything they'll need for the heist. And that's exactly what they do. After that, they head to the hotel connected to the casino and check in, pretending to be regular guests. By sheer coincidence, they spot a guy named Bahram. Bahram works the same shady kind of jobs they do. The moment Edie and Johnny see him, they realize something's off. Bahram must be here to steal the same $3 million they're after. They confront him, trying to get a straight answer, but Bahram just dances around the question. It's obvious what his intentions are, though. Right away, Edie calls Nico. She's furious. Hey, did you send Bahram to steal the same money we're supposed to grab? What the hell are you playing at? But Nico sounds genuinely confused. He tells her, I don't know what you're talking about, and I definitely didn't send Bahram. Why would I hire both of you for the same job? Then he tells her to leave it to him. He'll make a few calls and figure out who actually sent Bahram. Later, Johnny and Edie head up to their hotel room, and it's there in private that Edie finally tells Johnny she's pregnant. Johnny is stunned. Wait, what? You've been away from me for 3 months. Edie rolls her eyes and says, you idiot. I told you I'm 3 months along. Johnny pauses, then suddenly breaks into a huge grin. He's actually happy, thrilled that he's going to be a dad. Imagine that, a guy with no future, about to risk his life in a massive robbery, and he's celebrating fatherhood. Still, he looks her in the eye and says a few sweet words. He promises her that after this job, they'll walk away from this life forever and live clean, honest lives. The next day, Johnny shows up with a gift for Edie, a gold chain with a little baby charm hanging from it. He whispers a few sweet words, and for a moment, it's all romance. But that doesn't last long, because soon enough, it's time for the big job. The poker tournament kicks off, and at the end, one lucky winner walks away with the prize. $3 million, stuffed into a bag and locked inside the specially modified car the crew had planted earlier inside the casino. But before Edie and Johnny can even start the job, trouble finds them. Remember those two thugs Johnny fought earlier? Yeah, they spot him again. Pure coincidence, and immediately jump him. Security rushes toward the fight, and that's when Edie improvises. She slips into the car and starts the engine. The guards notice and surround her, asking politely, "Ma'am, please step out of the vehicle." Of course, she ignores them. Instead, she slams the car into reverse and chaos erupts. Edie's driving turns the entire casino into a demolition derby. At one point, she slams on the brakes because a pregnant woman suddenly steps right in front of her path. For a second, everything freezes. Then a security guard raises his gun and fires at Edie's windshield. But he's too late. The car is bulletproof. Edie smirks, shifts gears, and blasts her way out of the casino. That's when the police join the chase. Edie takes them through underground garages and across city streets, smashing cruisers left and right until their cars are totaled. You'd think it's over, but nope. Bahram shows up, determined to steal the prize for himself. First, he clears out the cops, flipping one cruiser, then aiming for another. But before he can pull the trigger on the second officer, Edie swerves in and takes the bullet herself, saving the cop's life. The cop, instead of being grateful, keeps pressing her like she's the criminal. Edie snaps. "Are you insane?" She slams her car into his, forcing him off the road. Now it's just her versus Bahram. Meanwhile, Edie's shouting, "Johnny, where the hell are you? It's your turn, idiot." And right on cue, Johnny shows up. He rams Bahram. Bahram rams back until finally, Johnny loses control. His car flips, crashing violently. Edie forgets everything. The money, the plan. She rushes to Johnny's wreck. He's badly hurt, and while she's pulling him out, Bahram calmly drives off with a bag full of cash. Later that night, Bahram stops at a small roadside motel, transferring the stolen money into another car. That's when Edie appears out of the shadows. Bahram freezes. "How the hell did you find me?" Edie smirks. "Simple. I planted a GPS in the car." But Bahram's not giving up that easily. He reaches for his weapon. Suddenly, Johnny limps out from the darkness, holding a gun of his own. Bang! He shoots Bahram, then walks up, finishing him off up close. Together, they recover the $3 million. The next morning, as they prepare to deliver the money to Nico, Johnny turns to Edie and says, "You know what? I want another baby." Edie stares at him like he's lost his mind. "Are you kidding? We can't even afford the first one." But Johnny insists, "Don't worry about money. From now on, I'm here. I won't let you down again. I'll never make you cry." For the first time, Edie feels like she has someone solid by her side. She smiles and says, "All right, let's drop off the cash and start fresh." But then, plot twist. Instead of handing over the money, Johnny pulls out his gun and kills the very man who organized the heist, along with his right-hand man. Edie stands frozen, unable to believe what just happened. Johnny, the man she loved, just killed their boss. He jumps into the car, trying to convince her this was the right move. "We're a family now, and we need every dollar. Don't worry, I've got it all figured out." But Edie can't stop crying. Deep down, she knows Johnny's wrong. And slowly, so does Johnny. He starts mumbling, breaking down. "What the hell did I just do? What's wrong with me? I'm not thinking straight." Edie, with tears streaming down her face, hugs him one last time, then pulls the trigger. She ends it right there. The hardest decision of her life, but the only one that could keep her alive. That night, Nico returns home with his right-hand man. But inside, Edie is waiting, gun in hand. Nico waves his assistant away. "Leave us." He sits down and listens as Edie tells him everything. Surprisingly, Nico smirks. "You did the right thing. I was planning to get rid of Johnny myself." Then Edie drops another bomb. By the way, it was your assistant who hired Bahram. Nico doesn't flinch. I know. He's been stealing from me for years. But the truth is, he loves me. He's loyal in his own way. That's why I've never pulled the trigger. But soon, I'll decide his fate. Afterward, Edie opens up about her brutal past, foster homes, abuse, betrayal. Nico listens carefully, then tells her, "It's time to stop saving everyone else. Start saving yourself." She nods. "You're right. That's exactly what I'm going to do." As she turns to leave, Nico stops her. "Take 10% of the money." Edie smirks. "Too late. I already took 20. Nico laughs, lets her go, and calls his assistant back inside. As Edie walks away, gunshots echo from the house. Looks like Nico finally made his choice. Years later, Christmas Eve, Edie has built a new life. A house, a garage of her own, a business, friends, neighbors, and most importantly, her now older, running around with joy at night. Her closest friend and family gather at her home. There's food, laughter, and warmth. For the first time in her life, Edie isn't running. She isn't fighting. She's finally home. And that's how the story ends. So, if you enjoyed this crazy ride, don't forget to drop a like, leave a comment, and share so more people can hear this story. And of course, if this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss the next video. See you in the next one.